slowly arriving, so I'm just going to give a few more seconds for the last people to join. I'm going to also ask the support from the team if you can let people at the end of that room there to come. Otherwise, we will have noise on the background. It's going to be hard to focus. Coffee break was just a bit too good. And too short. Okay, people are arriving. There are plenty of seats on that side. So if you want to cross, we promise not to shame you. Hi, how are you? Yes. It's, I mean, yeah. Okay. So welcome back, and welcome also to our online audience. For those who are joining remotely, welcome. You are very welcome to be here, and wherever you are, you chose to be with us, and we appreciate that. Thank you so much. For those who are in the room, you just had your second deep dive session. How's it going? Thumbs up if you feel that it's going well. All right, all right. Some harder conversations going on?
We dive too much.
You dive too much? Okay. As long as you can still breathe. That's important when you dive. All right. So I also know that from the deep dive, some rooms are pretty crowded and you're sitting pretty cozy. Well, we invite you to help us out with that management because we have limitations of space. Hopefully we can find solutions to accommodate everyone. If you are joining and you still want to pass, by all means, go ahead. And we start now with our Future Sparks. So for those who are at home or online, wherever you are, Future Sparks is just a warm-up, okay? It's just a way that we meaningfully start here, kind of putting some spices on our brains to get us ready to think about the future. And this one, because we're going to be talking about intergenerational solidarity, it's about ages, okay? So it's not the same as the morning. I have a question, and I want you to say a number, okay? First question. What's the median age of the youngest country in the world? So youngest not by history of formation of that country, but youngest by the ages of its citizens, of the people who live there. So imagine the youngest country in the world. What would be the median age? 16, 28, 41, 10, 17, 5. Okay, let me explain the median, maybe? No, it's good. It's good. We have from 5 so far until 45, I think I heard. 42, 20? 24. Okay, okay. 23. 32. Okay, very good. Next question. What's the median age of the oldest country? Again, of course, not oldest by history, but by the age of its nationals. So, what is the oldest country? 78, 62. Other numbers, other numbers. 150. Oh, come on. 59. The Vatican is included. 54, 48. Online, you can also try a guess. All right. So, actually explaining the median in a way that we can understand in youth work. You know that exercise where we ask participants to line up in a line by age? You know? If you would do that with an entire country, the median would be the age of the person right in the middle of that line. Okay? So, ready? Yeah. Want to do the roofing? The youngest country in the world, Niger, with 14.9 of median age. Then, just imagine this. That's the person sitting in the middle. Half of the country hasn't finished school yet. Okay? Just a bit more of information. Sub-Saharan Africa as a whole has a median age of approximately 18 years old. And by 2050, Africa as a continent will be home for over 800 million young people. That's more than the whole population of Europe right now. All right, next fact. Oldest country in the world, Monaco. I like the reaction, ah yeah. 57. For reference, Germany, for example, is at 47. The average population in the EU is 44.7, and it has risen more than 5 years in the last 20 years, 2 decades. Okay, if you want to see it a bit more globally, this map kind of shows you the youngest and oldest countries in the world. It also includes some administrative regions or some overseas regions. And I think it says something. Okay, questions? Questions for you. And it's just to raise your hand. Raise your hand if most of the youth work frameworks, participation models, or policy tools that you use were designed primarily with the European young people in mind. Okay, majority of us, thank you. Second question, raise your hand if you think that will have an impact on the future that we're heading to. Okay. Third question, raise your hand if you're not sure what to do with that information, but you know you probably should do something with that information. Me too. Very well. Well, the signal here, it's obviously not because the global north and the global south are two different places with different demographies, we know that. But maybe the signal is that we, as a world divided south and north, we are heading to two very different futures. The people who will populate that space are very different people. And one last reflection as a spark. Which models, going back to that here, which models travel faster? And how our Eurocentric, do I dare to say, views influence the futures we're going to live in. Food for thought, not food for debate now, as these sparks are, just to spice up, because now we're going to have actually an expert on these issues of the different generations that will occupy our futures. So, welcome to Özgehan, our Özgehan, I would say. Oh, I don't know where he is, but I need to present you. Come here. So, Özge is a professor of international relations in Ankara. He's also the main researcher of the SALTO publication on intergenerational solidarity, also the main researcher for the Academy for the study on futures of youth work. He is a former youth worker, trainer, researcher, all-round funny and very kind human, I would say, and a member of the Academy Advisory Board. So now, yes, I finished my presentation. You can applaud.
Well, you gave the spark, you started the fire. Let's see if I can cook with it. And when Anita was saying professor, some people were laughing because we met some people here when I was an undergraduate student. I come from work camp organizations, trainings. So raise your hands if you were born after 1994. Born, okay, half of the room. So you were born after. Did you say before? No, it's, you were born after. Yes, inclusive. I love the statistical issue. That's when I did my first exchange. So that's why I had to ask. And some of you were my trainers, actually. That's even scarier. But this is not about age, because when we talk about intergeneration, demography and age generally appears as the first topic because that's the shortcut. but intergenerational relations, conflict and solidarity, and dialogue is not only about age. There is much more to it. Now, I feel very proud that last Academy I was standing here presenting the findings of future research that we did with Alex and Darko and Giselle and Sonia. And again, I'm presenting another research. I'm quite getting into this mood. But there is an issue I have to clarify, that this is the first time I'm presenting this new research, and I'm not a sociologist. I don't work on solidarity and sociological issues, demography. There are better sociologists, better hardworking sociologists among us. I'm a political scientist, but I was a youth worker before I got my first diploma. So I'm very excited, and these are all learning experiences for me. It's like I'm in a building, you know, I'm from Turkey, but our part of the world, Greece, Turkey, all south, there is always this house that never finished. On the top, yeah, the southern Italians are smiling, you know, the idea is that the son will marry and build another floor. So my mind is a little bit like those unfinished. It looks like each academy I'm having a new floor. And I'm learning, and I'm here to share what I learned over the last 1 year with you, and what does it mean for people working with young people, what does it mean for youth work, what does it mean for youth research. So some of you worked with me in the past, you know I don't come with answers. I have a lot of questions in mind, so help me to find my way, and let's do this. And I'm glad the preparation meetings we had with Anita went very well. You are in the mood, so let's continue. When you solve this intergenerational issue, how many of you thought this is exactly what the gap I need to learn about? This is exactly what I need to read about, discuss about. Just think, don't raise your hands, let's not. And you're the only one, so don't make them hate you. And the second one is, how many minutes did you spend? Just try to calculate in your work talking about generations, except for the one you serve. So you work with one particular group, a generational group, and how much did you think about it? When I started doing this research, I started asking these questions myself. Because the older I got, my role changed. I was a volunteer, I was an exchange student, I was a volunteer in a work camp, then they made me a camp leader, then I was in the board of a youth organization in Europe, and then I was a trainer, and then I realized the time they are giving me is getting shorter. Nowadays, they are asking me to do speeches, 15 minutes, 40 minutes, and they are kicking me out of the room. So that is a little bit like a nightmare that a very experienced youth worker trainer told me. He or she or they was saying that he was doing something with the young people, and they said, "You're an old man, why are you wearing funny t-shirts?" That's why I changed. You are culturally appropriating, is that the word? Don't pretend to be young, you're old. Get out of the room and let us do the work. So do like me and change your role. And I'm worried what will come after keynote speeches, because now it's 45 minutes, maybe I will never be invited. But when I was asking these questions to myself, I was thinking, not many and not many for both of them. And then when I was doing the research, the rest of you, if you gave the same answers, except for you, my lady, you were very... We are the majority. We're not generally thinking about other generations than the one we target, and we are not really looking for this. But this is very interesting for the fact that this is one categorization that is for sure. This is one change that is happening. We're getting old. You are getting old. We're getting old, the roles are changing. When we work with other issues, sometimes it's difficult to have empathy with the other category, but this generations is ever changing and so certain, so sure. I don't think I'm giving a spoiler. Huh? You don't pretend you didn't know that you will get old and you will not be young forever. No matter how many funny T-shirts or red shoes you wear, it will change. So, next minutes, I want to suggest that this is a problem. And this is our problem in the youth sector. And the future of our work depends on us doing something, what to do about it. I must confess immediately that I'm not going to exactly speak about intergenerational solidarity directly as a topic. I will not address it as a teaching topic. By the way, in the morning I was also sitting there and I realized it's very difficult to read the slides. And I thought first it's me, so I was trying. Then I realized that it's the screen, it's not you. So what we did is the whole presentation is in the application. So you can open the PDF and you can read, take screenshots. And if you're doing other stuff, WhatsApp, double screen, you know, this multitasking, you can always pretending you're looking at the slides. So this is the moment I invite you to take out your phone and, because I've seen some people doing like this, it's in the program, click on it so you can read, take screenshots or laptops, tablets, I don't know, your smartwatch or shoe, whatever you're having. This is the topic. I started to think, the more I learn, this is the floor where we are doing the practice. And many of us have been doing youth work for years without checking if the floor was there and if it was strong. And this is the provocation I'm saying. We didn't check the floor first. Let me earn this provocation. I will try. I will do. Are you getting those stupid AI commercials on YouTube as well? I'm getting a lot of Tai Chi walking these days. And then this... Never start your conversation this annoying, yeah? I don't know, because YouTube algorithm is age sensitive, so maybe I am the Tai Chi group. So I will not say, I will try to do this. I know what I will do. I will do 3 things, okay? And first is the first academic part. I will do it quickly. I will share 3 words with you, these 3 words. And I hope this will change how you design your program, how you do your internship, how you do your program by dinner time. Second, I will ruin a story that we've been telling for a very long time about dialogue, conflict, and solidarity, and try to give you a better one. This one I can say, try. And third, because this is about future-oriented academy, and this is what we are here to do, I will try to put intergenerational solidarity into the futures conversation, because I've noticed it's been embarrassingly absent. We are too focused on today and now, and we need to keep talking about it. So, the educative part, let me be the professor very quickly, and quickly because this is a wonderful group and very intelligent audience. I've been following the debates in deep dive sessions, so I have confidence on that. When we say intergenerational, we use the word as if its meaning is obvious and we all mean the same thing. It's not. There are 3 words you need to use to clarify, and the differences between them is very little in spelling, but very deep in meaning. So, plurigenerational, I practiced in my room several times to say it all at once, plurigenerational. I think it's like this plurality. It's a space or setting in which different generations are simultaneously present, but there is no sustained or designed interaction. It's a shopping mall, it's a waiting room, it's a restaurant, it's a bus stop. And this is very common and wonderful, to be honest. I like this. Transgenerational, thanks sociology that they have conceptualized this very well. This is the transmission of values, practices, symbols, material goods across generations, primarily within family lines, but depending on which country, which society you come from. If it's a tribal one, I don't know, Montenegro, you would also get this from an extended family. And the most popular and easy way to understand is cooking recipes, grandmother to mother or grandfather to father and to the son. but it's also traumas, not spoken, all family histories, what happened, what did not happen, who did what. And intergenerational, the catchphrase, this is the active social interaction and dynamics of people different ages, and they are sharing the same time and same space. They are together. But they are not only co-present. There is no transmission handover ceremony, actually. On the day they meet, they owe each other nothing. You know, it's genuine exchange and relationship. And this is the territory we are operating. Now, let's dig deeper, and let me provoke you once again. Many of the events our organizations call intergenerational, loudly say it, is in fact plurigenerational. Different generations show up, they occupy the same room, they eat, they queue together for the soup and the coffee break, they go home, but let's not forget, being present together is not encounter. A photograph of a teenager and next to an elderly pensioner is not solidarity, it's simple geography. It's mapping. Transgenerational matters enormously. I have a lot of respect for transgenerational relations, but it is not what most of us also mean by intergenerational, because youth work mostly happens out of the family. In the morning, Peter was talking about let go, breaking this. He's talking about agency. But we were talking in my small group how much young people have the power to let go, to kill the elder, choosing the career. Lots of our students, maybe ourselves, when we were choosing university, there was pressure on us. We couldn't let go of this old ideology or the society. When you're in a group, are the young people, are we free to say, I'm doing this and not that? So this power is important, and we talk about it. But youth work deals with this. We are out of this transgenerational family society. We try to empower young people out of it in our youth organizations, in our trainings, whatever we do. That's why intergenerational requires design. Plurigenerational happens. It's a part of contemporary urban life. Unless you are from Finland, when you can walk, I don't know, 40 kilometers without seeing any other person, plurigenerational is unavoidable. And it's okay, it's nice. But intergenerational requires design. And what we're doing, is it really intergenerational? Or is it high labeled, pumped up, plurigenerational? We need to talk about this. Shopping malls, I have nothing against shopping malls. I have nothing against young people, old people eating together. But there is a problem when we mistake it for one than the other. So let's call what it is. The moment we do mislabel it, we stop investing in the design, because intergenerational needs design. So these are not just academic, scientific obsessions or distinctions. These are the tools which we need to diagnose our practice, our programs. We need to carry it with us. And I will move on, but I want you to keep this in your mind when we go to the next stage. So, okay, wait. Okay, so hands up. Now I got you thinking a little bit. Right hand, agree. Left hand, disagree. No ideological reason. Once I did this and they're saying, no, why did you make left disagree? I don't know, it's just left, right, middle. So think about it. Most projects in your organization, you don't have to move. Most projects in your organization you call intergenerational, in fact, plurigenerational. Right hand, left hand. Right hand agree, left hand disagree. Okay, I see a mix, and a lot of people in the middle, not sure. Next one, youth work in my country is structurally organized in a way that makes intergenerational practice difficult. It can be norms, it can be power structures, it can be politics. Oh, I see a lot of agreement. Okay, this is something to work on. Nice. All right then. In my context, the word solidarity is often used to obscure power than to share it. I know it's not very clear, but I need you to start thinking when we say solidarity, the power dynamics behind it. So is solidarity used as a power dynamic? All the Hungarians raised their hands. I mean, is it? Okay. A lot of agreement, very few disagreement. And this conflict, which is very important, because when we start talking about intergenerational, you know how it is in Google? The old people who still use Google, because I know lots of people are asking ChatGPT directly, not even Google. And do you remember that day? Did you mean? So write intergenerational. The first 3 words, depending on country, of course, is either conflict or dialogue. Solidarity doesn't come. And then, depending, of course, what time you're Googling, it brings intergenerational and some things I don't want to talk about now. But Google is very dangerous. So, are you more worried about generational conflict than disengagement? Very few. Agree, disagree? Okay. Yeah. I can hear the buzzing, you know. It's coming. Let me provoke you even more. European Academy on Youth Work. Some of you have been here. This is their 4th edition. Some of you is for the first time. We have seen the video. Somebody was very excited to be accepted. Based on last 2 days, raise your right hand if you think this is intergenerational, and left hand if you think it's plurigenerational. At the moment. So far. Okay. You should see, turn around and look with your hands up. It's funny that this way was left, this way was right. So I think sitting, who are you sitting with is affecting. I'm not going to open this to discussion, but let's dig deeper. Okay, I like this. So, before we go to the next one, I want you to give 2 theoretical tools. This is nice. This was very effective, and let's build on this. These are not academic lectures. I'll come back to that. But the field has created it. I know it's small words, but you can read that, and I will go through you. So this was apparently what dominated the literature for a long time. They studied families and generations for 2 decades, and this is the first large-scale intergenerational solidarity model they put and try to see. It comes with 6 issues. Let me read them to you, and let's think at the same time. So when you're running a project, a local street project, a big European project, something with volunteers in your street, whatever, just think of these and try to apply them. Associational practically talks how often do the people from different generations actually meet? Do they share activities? In other words, do they do something together? Or they just occupy the same space for a while? So this is one check that they offered. Second is affectual. Do they feel close? Is there warmth? Or is the relationship just functional and pleasant, but emotionally thin? The third dimension to check is consensual. Do they agree on values, beliefs, how the world works, or not? And please, warning, they don't have to. Agreement is not a goal, but it requires that the question is asked honestly. This politeness should not be on the way of hiding things. And functionality is very important. Do they exchange practical support for each other? Do they help each other? And most importantly, do they share resources? This is crucial. Or does the exchange go only from one to the other? Or is it two-way street? Just think about your projects, your board meetings. There are academics. Think about your department meetings where you have young assistant professors and those. Is it one way or the other? Normative. Do they have a sense of obligation and commitment to their relationship? Or is it entirely voluntary and fragile? Can they just walk out? Exit, is it an option there? Structural. What are the actual conditions that enable or prevent contact from each other? The group size, the geography, how the program is designed, the resources, culture. I come from a culture that the young ones are supposed to sit down and listen, and elder ones tell them what to do. So structure matters, again, and we have to take this into consideration. So these 6 dimensions give us a checklist, by the way. So when an intergenerational project underperforms, we can just go back to them. Are the people really meeting together to build something real? Is the exchange functional and two-direction? Or one generation give and the other receive? I'm not talking about advice. Your workforce. I was talking with some young volunteers yesterday, students. They were saying they were doing free internship. And they they give their time, they give their energy, they give their work in exchange of nothing, but they have to do it. I'm not only talking about money, but receiving advice, guidance, mentorship. So this is all matters. Is the structural dimension, proximity, accessibility, design, actually help to achieve? And remember, I will share the links at the end. Ageism works both ways. It's not only young people being excluded. If it's too high-tech, for instance, in a voluntary project, community project, I know a lot of elder people drop out. If you say, open your Menti, open your phone, click on this, click on that. So don't forget, ageism works two ways. A mixed, I came across this example, a mixed European Solidarity Corps project, the team, they score very high on association, for instance. They are meeting and they are together daily, but low on consensual. No one has ever asked them to address a disagreement. They always avoided it. And low on functional. Young volunteers are expected to do the tasks. They never given the voice to come up with alternative ways. And older staff members give instructions. This is not intergenerational success. It is a well-funded, plurigenerational arrangement, and we can clearly diagnose it if they don't decide on the goals and other things together. Now, very big caution, and I'm warning you, this is not a goal. This is just a tool. This is not the aim. I'm not going to say try to score very high in all of them, because this was attacked in literature as well. The second framework I want to share, it's not an achievement list, you know. It's not a report, the previous one. Solidarity is not a destination you reach when you collect all of the 6. Let's not gamify it. This is a diagnostic map just to understand where you are, you know. It's not a checklist and where we should end up. This solidarity, conflict, ambivalence paradigm. This previous literature, I'm not going to bore you now, Bankston's model was severely criticized in 1998 because they framed everything as solidarity, and it was this solidarity conflict argument clearly showed that in the previous model, conflict and ambivalence are problems. They design, if there is a conflict or ambivalence, it's a problem. It's a deviation from our target. But they are not deviations. Conflict and ambivalence are permanent features of our everyday life, intergenerational orienting, conflict and ambivalence. So Solidarity, dialogue, and conflict, they are co-present in a real intergenerational relationship. These are not phases. These are not stages that we go through. They are constant and simultaneous at the same time. Let me define ambivalence. It's a big word. English is not my native language, so I had to check. So if someone Googled already, I did that when I first read this paper. It's something we experience all the time. It's a structural experience of holding contradictory feelings, obligations, or positions towards the same person and or situation. You might like and dislike at the same time. It is not a problem to solve. Please take this message. It is not confusion. It is not something to fix. It is a permanent condition of intergenerational life. Let me explain. Think of a young volunteer in a youth organization who genuinely admires the older director, project coordinator, her experience, her networks, her commitment for so many years. And at the same time, the young volunteer might simultaneously resent the way the coordinator treats younger people as trainees rather than colleagues, how she doesn't or he doesn't share decision-making and never listens to them. It can happen at the same time, and neither cancels the other. And any program that tries to resolve this ambivalence is forcing the people to be dishonest. And we can't function dishonestly. Think about an older participant in a neighborhood memory project. She is very happy and proud that young people want to hear her story, the culture of that neighborhood, the memory. But then young people put it on TikTok, use it in a medium she doesn't understand, use it in a language she doesn't understand, to an audience that she doesn't know, so she can feel uneasy. So pride and uneasiness, insecurity simultaneously. And she doesn't have to choose. The youth worker needs to be the facilitator, helping her, holding both. This is one role we have to keep in mind. Address the ambivalence. And conflict. As I said, intergenerational immediately comes with conflict. It is not a misunderstanding. Generations naturally have different stakes in the labor market, in housing, in how the budget is spent. When we were doing the futures scenarios, it was very clear. Older generation want community centers, not youth centers. Older voters want more elder care professionals, not more youth workers. Housing. They don't want crowded, loud young students living upstairs. So there is this conflict of interests, conflict of stakes, and dialogue does not solve these problems. These problems go beyond speaking. So this is why I want to challenge this. We cannot try to solve the conflict. We cannot treat the conflict as a risk to avoid. We must be trained to name the conflict, hold the conflict, and work with the conflict. Solidarity built without tested disagreement is just politeness. It's fragile, and it will fall apart in the first real challenge. So, the triangle is a metaphor I prefer, but not this that we come together, we talk, we love each other, and we will have a solution. What we need is the triangle. Solidarity, dialogue, and conflict come together, because solidarity is not a destination. That's not something we want to reach. It's something we have to constantly build. And a good professional like ourselves should not be avoiding conflict, but remember, a good dialogue surfaces conflict. It generates it. I'm not talking about pulling the hair or hitting with a beer bottle.
Well, why not?
It can get there. My son always ends up there, so I'm trying to talk with him, but that's one way of solution. Physical is good. It's cultural as well. But we need to talk about our disagreements, and we need to talk about this. Because this thing that we come together, we talk, we discover how much we like each other, and then we discover the common humanity and solidarity follows. It's a beautiful story, no? It's also nonsense. Because dialogue is the start, conflict is the thing to avoid, and solidarity is the goal, is the destination. Doesn't work like that. And this is very important for me to share with you. If any of the young students here says, I don't feel represented, people didn't talk to me, they didn't respect to me, I felt like a decoration here, it didn't relate to me, we will not be offended, but we will just understand. It's just normal that we have this talk, conflict, disagreement, and this is the starting of the dialogue. Many times in trainings, I see a lot of the times the facilitator who sees conflict within the group as a failure. And they rush to harmonize it. But they just close the process they were starting at the beginning, unfortunately. And because most of us were not trained for it, we see it as a problem to avoid, not to work with it. Two people who have stayed in the room through a real disagreement and emerged still in a relationship, they have something stronger than two polite people who only shared pleasantries, had their coffee together. That's not harmony. That's pretentious. If you survive a disagreement and conflict, you create a bond. This is, I'm not going into details, but this is the contact theory, 1950s. Just because you put some people in the same room and they talk to each other, they don't create harmony, they don't solve problems, especially if you don't work on it. What is the thing to do then? We should work through this, and we should keep this in mind. And let's talk about future now. This is the quote I loved when we were doing our research. Wisława Szymborska is there anybody from Poland in the room? Yeah. She's a Nobel laureate, Nobel winner. I checked what laureate means. She won the Nobel. And I think if you win the lottery, it's winning. And if it's Nobel, it has to be laureate. Is that the thing? I love this three oddest words, the poem. Check it in your language. It's translated to every language. And the one that hits me most is when I pronounce the word future, the first syllable already belongs to the past. And then there are two. In Polish, I'm sure it's more charismatic. She has tears in her eyes. And the other two words, by the way, is silence and nothing. And she has something very smart to say. Homework for later. So time is not neutral. This is something we have to keep in mind before we move to the next stage. Every generation stands in a different time. This is the marriage of have been and wanna be. So if somebody says, I have been in 3 academies, and somebody says, I wanna be in the next 3 academies, it's different futures, different pasts. And we have to talk about it. Was and will in the same room. And they mean different things. Because even the word future does not mean the same. My future is different and less than someone in 20s. I wanna is less than their list of I wanna. Enough with the philosophy, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who's worried and who's stressed and asking. So let's think about it. Solidarity, the word itself can be a moral burden. The ex-communist Soviet world, they will remember how the word voluntary and volunteer meant something completely different for them. When we were doing youth work after the fall of the wall, for us, volunteer and volunteerism was something sacred. And for the people, our friends coming from the East, was saying, no, don't use that word volunteer. We were forced to volunteer all our lives. Let's not do this. So solidarity is one of those terms. When it's pushed from above, when older generations ask younger people to show solidarity with a system that does not represent them, that does not protect their interests or deliver them, the word becomes less powerful. And be careful with the language of solidarity. This is one big warning I found out. If the strong ask solidarity from the weak constantly, this is not solidarity. This is exploitation. Intergenerational inequality is important. It matters. The young does not have a unified interest. Age is important, but it's not everything. Just like the old. A 22-year-old unemployed young person from Barcelona has more in common, totally, with a 70-year-old man, pensioner, without housing in Barcelona, than a 20-year-old party festival-going rich kid in Dubai. So we don't have to avoid important issues of class. We should not avoid the important issue of race. What about gender? Are old women the same position as old men? Don't we always have the situation, young, old, doesn't matter, women are less experts, invited less to speak, and it's a very male-dominated world. Youth work, politics, economy, doesn't matter. Age is hiding behind gender. Let's not forget about migration. What about disabilities? Age is not everything, that's why I said. If it allows the word solidarity, privileged of every generation across age, while protecting inequality, we are doing more harm with the best possible vocabulary. I repeat, let's not make these important class, gender, race, migration, disability hide behind age. This is very, very important. And let's not forget this instrumentalization, this young versus old. When generational framing is used, it's generally used to disguise a redistribution conflict. They are being used to hide an immigration debate or climate fight. It's the most rhetoric of the populist discourse, and we should be the first ones to talk about this and to warn about it. What does it all mean? In my last time, I want to introduce these scenarios. What does intergeneration and youth work stand? 5 scenarios. One is very famous, demographic squeeze. And as Anita showed, olding, Europe is aging. People are living longer. We're talking about longevity. No, I can't say that word. Longevity? Longevity. Thank you. Isn't it? The ratio of working age is changing. I will not do this, but what does it mean? Socio-historical generations are succeeding faster than family generations. I repeat, socio-historical generations succeed each other faster than family generations. What does it mean? Up to, depending on country, but Monaco, I checked after your number, 5 generations are sharing the same labor market, the same housing market, the same budget. Amazing. And this is going to intensify. The plurigenerality, plurigeneration is increasing. Think about the effect on public transportation. How do you design buses if children will use it at the same time with people who are 80, 90 years old? And how do you design workplaces if 80 years old are still working? British example, so much of them are working. How do you design your web page? How do you design an app? That 5 generations can use it at the same time. And we have to put pressure on intergenerationality here that requires design. Economics. This lump of labor is bullshit. There is only a certain number of jobs, and old and young has to compete for it. Economic paper after economic paper proved this is not wrong. This is a rhetoric, this is a story they are telling to just show the labor market under control, this housing, the scarce resources, old people are using the resources, young people are stealing, immigrants are stealing the job. No, labor economics found evidence after evidence that mainstream political discourse is using this as an excuse for lower wages and lower worker rights. So old and young are not in competition for these things. There is enough jobs being created, but we don't think enough about how to work together. Climate and ecological change, in my last very quick minutes, you are deep diving to it, but think about this. Who gets to decide and who will be affected most? This is the intergenerational issue. The future generations have no say at the moment, are heard, not heard, ignored, they are not in decision making. So if your organization is doing anything about environment and climate change that is not framed as intergenerational, you are missing an opportunity. It matters, this thing. War, displacement, migration, this is hurting, but numbers are there. Languages are no longer spoken to grandchildren. Lots of children are separated from grandparents. It doesn't have to be war and something terrible. So many villages were only old people and children in Moldova, in Romania, in Bulgaria, when the parents left for work, and rewinded in Portugal, Spain, Turkey, when the parents left to work somewhere else. But then it changed. Now children are in different countries than their grandparents. No bedtime stories, no cooking together. So we are doing intergenerational work without the grandparents in the room. There are linkages broken. All this 7 million, up to 7 million Syrians in Turkey who never saw their grandparents, who never listened to the stories, and they make it interesting. And there is no term for intergenerational work without the older generation in the room. So on one hand, you have 5 generations together, and on the hand, you have a group of people who never met their grandparents, or even parents in some disaster scenarios. And I'll finish, I know it's beeping and it's minus. Polarization and digital stereotype. Algorithms reward outrage, and outrage feeds on stereotypes. Digital spaces, it's covered with generational one. All this accusation of young people, they are lazy, they don't want to work, they are fragile, they are princess for the men, bitch for young women. And they keep repeating after another these stereotypes. Shut up, boomer. They make solidarity rhetorically suspect before it even starts. It's pumping these things. Now, let's put them together. Yeah? I've been doing too much talk, but I've been presenting. And I want you to keep this in mind, that with all these trends, the youth intergenerational competence will increase, which means we can't exclusively work for 15 to 25, have fun games, sessions and 1 a.m. We also have to turn into community workers. Our programs have to be suitable for everybody. And we need to learn better on conflict, how to continue dialogue through conflict, not just saying, okay, let's not fight, let's continue. We don't do that. And finally, we either do it now, proactively, or we do it 10 years later reactively, trying to solve this problem because it will be a problem. And who will do it? You will do it. Do we have the instructions, or we're out of time and I stop it and I leave this for the next coming sessions? How does the room feel? 10 minutes exercise, or I give the exercise and you do it yourselves?
Let's do the individual part and then we talk.
Okay. Okay, we don't do the group part. Okay, then, let me introduce it. I gave you these scenarios. You have it in PDF in your phone. So this future wheels exercise is you write one of the trends in the first one, yeah? And ask yourself, what does this trend produce or change in the 10 years that affects your practice? You can be a teacher, You can be a youth worker, you can be an animator, I don't know, a student who will graduate. But what does one of these 5 trends? Choose it. We will change the slide with instructions. But you put it in the trend, in the one. The first circle, you ask this question. What does it change? Because we spoke about change in the morning, that affects your practice. That's ring 1. Ring 2, what does this change mean for you and what you did not predict? So force it a little bit, the interesting consequences, yeah? So you put the trend, what change does it mean, and what flows it that is unpredictable, that you can't see. And the third one, what does it mean for your work? Who you work with, how do you do your work, and who do you work alongside? Don't say we need more training, try to be specific. It's coming, the instructions, I see something is moving. So let's start. Do this exercise. Put one of the 5 trends in the middle. What does it mean for you in the first ring? What it will change in the first ring? What are the unpredictable consequences in the second one? And third, look individually to yourself, your organization. Yeah? Do we have that coming or I give up? Don't worry, I can repeat it as many times. We open some window, we open some light, choose a trend individually, put it in the middle. First order, what does it directly produce or change for your practice? Yeah, you can do it with the person next to you. Do you want to see the trends again or you have it on your phone? Anita, let's go back to my slide and then I can leave the trends on the screen, don't worry. Choose one of these. Choose one of these, put it in the middle of the circle, and then think, what does it change in the next 10 years? Second ring, what you did not predict, and third, what do you need to do about it? You can use it, yes, the deep dive. Can we open a window or something? It's too hot. Can we open the windows? Five minutes just to start talking when we open some windows.
The other ones are a bit more obvious, classic. Yeah. You go with that one? It's on the program. His slot. His slot. His slot.
It's not my personal page on my LinkedIn.
Stop it. So
Time is running. And we wanted to have some of the questions that maybe are popping up in your groups, and also questions from the online audience. So let's have a few minutes, 10-15 minutes of question and answer for Özge. And by the way, thank you so much for what you already presented so far. The past is always tense. The future is also tense, I don't know.
It's always perfect.
All right. Anyone wants to start with a question? I think our microphones are ready. Yes, there's a question there.
Darko, it's here. Darko, on your right.
Sabrina, there's a question there.
Darko, it's here.
Darko is there.
Microphone is here.
Perfect
You are
future
there.
and perfect organization.
Speaker is there.
Well,
Thank you for doing the triangle, you know.
We all present at the same time.
yes, there. No.
Okay, I just want to say I didn't understand the second order. Can you explain what you mean by it? I just got completely lost and I didn't understand what I have to do.
Okay. It is the unpredictable side when we were doing the future research, and it's in the academic resources. There are the signals we see. AI is right in front of us, for instance. These are the weak signals, the unpredicted ones that we didn't see it coming. The education did not see AI writing papers for students, and we were late to react to it. For instance, just this example, or the budget cuts that was coming, or the voters, that most of the politicians being older. So the second order is what flows from the first one that you would not have predicted. It's the unpredicted ones. You know, it's for pushing the boundary a little bit, imagination. What if? I'm not talking about robots stealing our job, which is right in front of us, but it's thinking beyond the horizon, okay? It's an exercise, just try to see what we can't see. And when you discuss in such settings, the creativity is higher because you're doing the deep dive sessions. So it's a way of thinking the unpredicted consequences. There are the intended consequences, unintended consequences, and unpredicted ones. So we're trying to see beyond the fog. Yeah, that was the idea.
Thank you. We have another
Thank you.
review.
And we're going to ask you to stand up when you ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful and insightful presentation. There was one word, one concept I was missing in your story, so I wonder where it fits in the picture, and it's the word empathy.
Yeah.
Because from my point of view, dialogue can also lead to empathy, understanding each other's perspective. So it should not always, or isn't always leading to conflict. So where is empathy coming in your story?
That's what we were talking. If I was to make this triangle a pyramid, I had to put something on top, and I'm still searching for the terms, but empathy is one of them. But the problem with it is from older to younger, because younger, it's a little bit Orson Welles, you know, I know what it is to be young, but you don't know what it is to be old. I think it's a little bit overrated, because it's always the problem that when an older person starts, we used to be young too, but we never did this. Or when I was your age, I already had a car and a job. And this is the difficulty of empathy, that challenge of empathy. You're absolutely right. As I said, it can be the pyramid, and empathy can be in the middle of the triangle if you make it three-generational. But I was shocked how bad we are in empathy. That, you know, young people don't prefer jobs, yeah, but you could have a decent way of life as a high school graduate, and people who speak several languages is unemployed now. So you're absolutely right, we need empathy, but it's a very big challenge from my point of view, and we need to work on that as well. But thanks for bringing up.
Thank you.
We do have a question from the online audience, so I'm going to read that one, if it's possible. From Ilaria. Hi, Ilaria. In some recent academic research I came across, the concept of adultism. What can we do as youth workers to reduce our adult bias towards our groups?
Very good point, and linked to that. I will share, I don't have an answer. We need to work on this, to reducing stigmatization of young people. This is part of SALTO research. I will share the links, and there was a very good ID talks about ageism, and very good graphic, and an article just published. So Ilaria, let's read this first. It's written by a wonderful group, and there we're talking about, they are talking about it. That's where I learned it as well. But adultism, ageism goes both ways. So, but this is a very serious issue, this stigmatization and easy accusation of young people. I've been always against it, even though I'm not young anymore. So.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
And to that, I just want to add something before giving the word there, and then I see another arm there. Yesterday, somebody was giving out pins for policies that are being developed in their region. I don't know, where are you from? Belgium. Hi.
Yeah,
And one of the pins was a space for young people to be free or to be themselves. How was it? A space to be young, which I guess it's also a nice answer to this, avoiding this adultism of young people, no? To give them a space to be young, and I was just connecting with that. So we have a question there.
And the link for all the resources are here, and the videos are there, ID talks, the link, the QR, and the Google to term, so you can do everything.
Hey, thank you again for the presentation. I had a question. I saw at some point you had intergenerational competence.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to ask you, what does it mean? And how do you see it in practice? And also, is it a competence from the youth worker or from the adult or the young person?
Everybody walking on this earth should have intergenerational
And how it
competence.
expresses, yes.
Yeah, it's absolute must, but it's not something, again, put on the shoulders of young people, then it's exploitation. We can't just say young people should understand and respect the elders. That's not how it works. But in terms of youth work competences, being able to work with different generations and how to create dialogue and empathy. So it has two meanings. One, everybody should have intergenerational competence, how to work together, live together. For youth sector, we should be able to work, deliver to all of them. We can't remain exclusive with the current trends. Although it is not bad, by the way, don't get me wrong, because this is a debate. We don't have to close youth centers. We have to keep the youth work with young people. This is crucial. I cannot stress that long enough. I'm not saying let's give it up. We are doing a wonderful job. And we are the solution for many of the things Peter Mary was saying in the morning. This lifelong learning. We already do non-formal and informal learning. Yeah? So please don't get the wrong message. Just we have to learn to work together with other people as well, because we are going cross-sectoral. We're doing digitalization, we're doing eco, environment, climate, which is not a youth-exclusive topic. So that's what I'm saying. Keep the youth work, but also learn how to communicate and work with different generations. That's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
There was there one.
There's another question there. Mm-hmm. And just before that, I think it's also about what you were saying, Özge, about learning how to design these encounters, right? Because you said it, intergenerationality, it's about designing a space where the encounter and the empathy can be built. So I guess the competence involves learning how to design those spaces as well, right?
I mean, the one who's going to ask the question has been writing and working on these issues as well. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Özgehan. I think this was really, really inspiring for me. But, you know, I have an academic question. Sorry for that. So could you perhaps, you know, because you are much more into this than I am, could you contextualize these 5 challenges that you posed in one of the oldest sociological debates, and that's structure versus agency?
Uh-huh.
Do you think that we should focus more on, you know, developing agency, which is basically, you know, the idea of youth work, or should we look long term and focus more on structures and try to, you know, use this multiplication effect that this could have?
And of all the people, of course, you're itching that, pushing that button. Depends on your ideological standpoint. This is now I'm stopped pretending to be a sociologist. I'm going back to my political, you know, if you have your Gramsci's and all your criticism of neoliberal institutions, these institutions will just put a band-aid on the crisis and they will continue to reproduce itself. So I think we need to attack structure. But to attack the structure, if you want to sink a battleship, you have to know where is the engine and where is the weak point. That's why we can't have some leftist illusions of a world revolution and one day everybody will stop wearing or using these things. So I have to clarify, it's my ideological point of view that I have zero confidence in neoliberal design of the world and this exploitation which became global. And when I read the Planter manifesto, techno-feudalism is scaring me even more. And I know you're having a deep debate, but I think it's getting more and more serious. Food, I didn't talk about food. I was very attempting to talk about food politics. It's there. Health, I didn't put health, but health is also there. And my point of view, it's not an answer for the research. It's too soon for me to speak. But my point of view is I would go after the structure. But it's me.
We have one more question from Susie. It says, makes me think, why is youth work being asked to be the one to do the intergenerational solidarity?
Yes. Yes, that's my first warning, you know. If we are asked to cover things and make excuses, that's not right. So that's why we can be intergenerational solidarity, but why are we forced to do it? Older generations. I completely agree. We don't have to deliver it once again. I hate youth work is being asked to solve the problems that it didn't create. Schools fail and they immediately look at youth work saying, oh, we can't do a good job in the schools, can you solve it? Migration integration policies fail, they immediately say, oh, youth work, can you do something? Economics, employment, labor economics fail, and they say, oh, can you make young people more employable? So now they want us to do solidarity, which means make their lives more comfortable. I don't think so. But that's me.
Thank you.
There's Anita, there's one last here.
One less then.
Okay.
Yep.
Behind the call. Hi, how are you? Thanks, Özgehan. That was really...
Okay, this is getting fun now. Hillary is asking me a question.
No, I'm not...
We should have a panel here.
I'm not going to ask you a question.
Okay,
I'm going
thank God.
to, I suppose, just agree with what you're saying. So I'm one of the ones who is getting used to being the oldest person in the room, and I'm in my rewildment phase, I suppose, since I left full-time work. But I think this is really important work. And I think the two things that really struck me about what you're saying that I would really like to see us and invite us to pay more attention to. One is the issue of class and those comments you made about that a young person's class positionality, which I know is a challenging thing to talk about and perhaps an unpopular thing to talk about, but is really important because we make all sorts of assumptions about what and who young people have things in common with. So I think we really need to re-engage with the issue of class. And then the second thing I think you said that was, of all the things that are important, was the idea of youth workers also being community workers. Mm-hmm. That there is just such limited value in only working with young people as young people if we don't engage with them in their community context and we don't foster equally young people and other groupings in those communities. So whether it's older people or people with, you know, diverse identities, to figure out that we're all in this together. I think there's something, you know, limited about what the impact of youth work could be, and I just think that would be a terrible shame. So thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. For those, the ones at home didn't see, but yeah. No, this is very quickly, what you say is also, in an interview I was doing, somebody said, even if we don't want, our different generations come to our youth center. If a young person is going through family problems, is going through bullying, abuse, or inequality in workplace, or failing education system, they don't leave it at the door when they enter in our youth center. They come with it, or the society as well, the politicians. So if they are already coming into our space, why don't we get better on how to dealing with this and how to deal with them without turning it into us versus them? So I think that's a good competence we need.
Yeah.
Even if they are not invited, they will come to our area anyways.
There's one more here.
Where
I
are
think we
you?
don't have any more time.
Simone is dying.
Okay, okay.
Deep dive facilitators, you know.
It's Simona. Okay.
Hi, Özgehan. I just want to ask you something because I think very often for me the challenge is that we live in a world that gives power to certain preconceptions. So when you're young, you are not holding that power. You're not holding necessarily, you know, like the world doesn't see you that you have the power of knowledge because you haven't had the experience or the study or whatever and whatever, right? So as one example. So how do you break that? So how do you break it in a way that you don't just create a space where a young person and a person with, let's say, assumed more, you know, knowledge or structural access and so on, how can they be in that space and considered then equal partners in it, you know? How do we do that in our ministries? How do we do that in the daily practice? How do we do that in the youth work in your experience then to break this idea that the older always knows better, knows more because they've had, you know, 50, 40, I don't know how many years to study and to engage and talk in a certain way and, you know, all of that.
I have 25 diagrams and 5 books that talk. No, I don't know. This is something we will answer together. It's a question burning as well. And that's what we are. Guys, don't pretend this is something new and I'm introducing a new method. We are all working with this. We are all experiencing this. And again, youth work is one of those fields that we remain in. You know, this is not like we move out. So, yes, I want to know the answer too, and I think it will change. It's just one point. I will not respect someone because they've been walking this earth longer than me. I would respect someone younger and more knowledgeable on many issues than someone who lived longer and doesn't automatically deserve respect. But that's why I'm not invited to weddings in my family anymore. I'm the disrespectful one. I refuse to kiss the hand. Okay.
Well, we're going to finish here, respecting everyone's time. Thank you so much, Özgehan.
Please. Hey, I'm just one of you asking the questions loud. So, but please follow the research and visit the site. There are wonderful videos. There are wonderful articles already written. Maybe you'll find more there. Examples, and there are 2 events coming, so maybe you will participate in some of them. One is in Vienna, there's a call for one laboratory work in Malta, so please join us and let's do this together. And thank you for the wonderful work. Some of you have been doing longer, some of you just started to do, but it's wonderful nonetheless. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Özgehan.
Sorry,
it's
I
really
made a home
insightful.
here. It will take me 2 minutes to collect
No
my
worries.
things.
You do you. And Darko can tell us a little bit about tonight before we go.
Yes, direction. Where do we go from here? Can we see the slide with announcement?